Welcome back to Orange Machine Works, and today I'm going to show you my shop, all the tools I have, and some of the broken stuff we need to fix. So let's come take a look. Let me show you the first machine I need most of the time. That's a washing machine, just a simple parts washer, parts cleaner, whatever you want to call it. Simple thing, push the button, some cleaning fluid comes out and you can clean all the stuff. Obviously very dirty. I just used it a couple of hours ago and didn't clean it up yet because I thought I need to make a video. Over here is the bench where I put my stuff, and sometimes some projects, some inspecting work is done on this bench, and yeah, just a normal bench. A couple of drawers, some overseas tools, punches, hole punches are in there, some easy outs, yeah, screwdrivers, big Allen wrenches. These are my hammers, punches, center punches, yeah, all you need. Over here are some, or in this drawer, or my wrenches for the mill, spanner wrenches. These tools, I don't know the name for it, but these are for big snap rings, I think. I believe snap ring pliers, they're called. And in here, more hand tools, normal wrenches and some adjustable pliers, another hammer. More hammers. Yeah. Everything is a hammer if you just use it right. In here are some air tools I sometimes need. This little guy from Amazon is pretty neat for deburring and stuff. Surely you need Scotch-Brite and gasket paper. This drawer I forgot to close. It's already opened up and you can see some of lubricants and stuff and an assortment of hand files. And this one is just little paperwork, some manuals I got, and from the steel supplier I have what I can get easily. That's a little press I acquired a couple of years ago. Pretty neat thing. They told me it's a 2-ton, maybe it is, I don't know. I will need a larger press anyway, but it's perfect little press for bearings and stuff. There's no manufacturer on this thing, maybe it's from overseas, I don't know. It works and gets the job done I need to. A door to a bathroom, because you need one. A big green closet, or I don't know how you call it. Much stuff in here. The dividing head all the way down. Well, over here is another project. Sorry for the noise, but that's an adjustable angle plate, I'd say. A big one. Didn't need it yet, but I bought it. It was cheap, so I bought it. Another angle plate, fixed 90-degree angle plate. A vise. This is also an angle plate I already restored, and sorry for the lighting, it's not the best in here, so yeah, it's pretty much okay. Some oils, a pump, more oils and other fluids, and an assortment of electrical stuff and some bearings and pneumatic stuff you need all the time. A radio, yes. So let's close it back up. Nothing very fancy to see. Let's come to the machines. I have a Bridgeport I believe Series 2. Very worn out, especially the ways on the tables. I installed some oil lines and spent lots of time fiddling around with these adjusting knobs you can see here, so everything gets oil and not just the one that the oil wants to flow easily. So I can lube it up pretty good. I installed a DRO, and yes, I know, that's wrong. That's bad. You don't do it that way. Nah, works for 2 years now. Maybe I change it one day, I don't know. Well, original American 3-phase motor, wound for American hertz. I think it's 50 in the US, and over here we have 60, or it's the other way around. I don't know. Spindle turns in a very different RPMs. But yeah, not bad. Yes, I just made an oil change, not on a car, but on this thing here, my horizontal boring mill, actually right now equipped with the vertical head. It's all 40 taper tooling. Some of it I have here, ready to use. Yeah, cheap light. I'm a cheapskate. No, I'm not, but I just had this and so I used it. Here you can see well, this is here you can see the place where the pump needs to go. I'm right now cleaning everything up, and yeah, it needs fresh oil and a new pump, and that's a new pump I have for it. It already got 4 new belts. Tried it out. It still cuts the same as it did before. Adjusting knob for feed. And here you can engage the feed on the Z or the Y axis, and here you can adjust the feed on the X axis. My vice. Well, here you adjust the speed of the cutter. You have 2 levers, high and low, and then you have 3 ranges for the number 1 and 3 ranges for the number 2, and you choose it here, so it has 6 gears. No, it has 12 gears because you have high and low. So yeah, it has an arm already mounted on the mill, and it came with that. I didn't build it or anything. I just bought the mill this way. You can just unbolt these bolts on either way and slide it out the way, or swing it out the way, I'd better say. You swing the head out of the way and you have a horizontal mill. Very nice, very good. Here is another workbench, or let's say project table. I have some projects around here, some already finished little stuff, nothing fancy, just some plates for bolting on rollers and stuff. Yeah, these are projects. Here is where I set the tooling, the 40 taper tooling in, and I can mount a cutter, and yeah, just made this myself, bolted it down out of some strap aluminum. Easy peasy lathe work, so very good. Let me show you these drawers here. Arbors for the horizontal mill. Some more arbor stuff, and these are for mounting cutters. Also some stuff for the bridge board. Yeah, Everything is from overseas I have for the Bridgeport, because over here in Europe, parts for a Bridgeport or tooling for a Bridgeport is quite expensive if you even can get it. It's not easy to get it. That's the best drawer I have around here because it's empty. Ah, what's that in here? Yeah, that's a tapping head. I'm sorry I can't lift it out. I have some issues with my right arm right now, so better don't drop it in my old oil. I might show you one day how these are used. Oh, the second best drawer, empty but with no rubber liner in here. So let me roll that out of the way. That's my chip bin. Yeah, lots of drilling last time and not so nice stuff to do. I have some cutters in here, some pins ready to use. These are tapered pins, by the way, metric taper. Some finished projects that are for myself. I need to mount that in a pickup truck, but yeah, I don't have time for it right now. Some oilers, some chucks I use in the lathe or just on the table of the mills sometimes. Over here is some raw stock material, mystery metal over here, and marked and certified metal over here. Down here, same thing. Most of it is marked, but yeah, there are some mystery plates I have here and some mystery stock I have here, I think. These aluminum plates are mysterious, I don't know. Yeah, that's some gray cast iron. Yeah, some tapping handles for larger taps if you need one. Some bolts. Over here a little eccentric press and two magnetic chucks. I never used, but bought them cheap. So this is an interesting cabinet. I like this very much. Let me pull just one out. These are some snap rings. Yeah, of course they're all together right now, so yeah. Snap rings for holes. These are snap rings for shafts and so on. Some. Ooh, that's not nice. Why do you do that to me? Go back in there. Yeah. Some springs. Yeah. Could make the old spring choke springs right around the corner in March. Yeah, we have some I don't know, copper rings. Keep the oil where it belongs to. Yeah, some more pins and stuff. Again, sorry for the lighting, guys. I know you can't see much, but it's just how it is right here in the dark corner of the workshop. Some socket head cap screws. Okay. Let's move on. Let's put that back so if I have to use the toilet, I don't end up in the scrap bin. Nobody likes being strapped. Another cabinet over here. Again, bolts, and even more bolts. Yeah. Oh, guess what? Bolts. Yeah, and also some miscellaneous bolts. I have no certification or nothing. Different sizes I took out of screws or out of stuff like this. Very much pretty new bolt. You can see even the threads are very shiny, and that's how they need to look like. The threads are still broad and very wide right here, so indication for new. Nah, that's junk, but I don't know, I keep it anyway. What I have here, I don't know for sure. Some pipe fitting stuff. Some more pipe fitting stuff. Oh, empty drawer. I don't know. Hydraulic stuff. Handles and shoulder bolts. Yeah. Plastic bags. Stuff for DROs. Oh, some more electric stuff. Even more electric stuff. And what I have here, bolts for fixturing and stuff. More bolts and well, these are actually T-nut bolts, or how you call them, I don't know. Some more T-nuts. Other clamps and stuff. I bought lots of this stuff at auctions and I bought it as weight. I paid like 30 cents a kilogram. That's like 2 pounds, and I don't know, 35 cents. Let's come over here. Yeah, it's sitting on the floor right now. I don't like it. Yesterday I started building a cart for it. For this one, for my big faceplate or 4-jaw jug. It's 500 mil in diameter. I'm building a cart for the faceplate and for this guy right here. I forgot the name. I'm sorry guys, but you will recognize what that is. Let's come over here. Part of a project right now. It needs a new gear on this shaft. I need to make one, or I bought the gear and I just need to drill out the shaft diameter and broach a keyway in with my press. That's easy. Tooling for a lathe. For this lathe. Right now I'm selling this lathe because I just don't need it anymore, and I don't use it because over here is the new lathe. That's a beast. And that's a real beast, and it has a 250 mil chuck in it, and this one takes the 500 mil chuck also. It's 250 mil is like 10 inches, and it looks pretty small on this lathe. More type 5 tailstock. It has a metric lead screw. I bought it pretty cheap, worn out, damaged, and dirty as, I don't know, dirty as used sand in a foundry. That's about how it looked like. Clean it all up. Put these new, I don't know, forgot the name for it, the American name. Sorry, I'm no native speaker, so have mercy on my soul. To see if there is actually pumping oil or not. And it's pumping oil perfectly. No issues there. Yeah, that's old German gray cast iron. And I just wanted to put my foot up here and I just broke it. Not just kidding, I bought it that way. Don't know what happened. The part was not there anymore. So yeah, maybe I find the time and make a new tray around here. What I really need to do is in here make or let me just wind that back so you can see it better. What I need to do here is I want to make sheet metal in here. So if I get ready using this coolant line, the coolant won't drip down right here where an electrical box is, and chips don't fall in there. I want some sheet metal going up, starting from about here until here. Put a big enough hole in here and some mesh or something, and same thing goes for the other side. Some sheet metal from here all the way down to here, so chips can build up in here. I just take them out with my magnet afterwards, or get washed down, or at least washed this direction. And what I'm going to do is put a chip pan under it and a tank for coolant. And yes, the foundation is not ready. Also, these steel plates you can see are 100 mil wide, or like 4.5 inches, I guess. And I'm gonna build some, or just take some timber around it and pour it out with concrete. That's enough. In my opinion, it's enough. I used this lathe now for about 3 months and it's sturdy as heck. But what I didn't do yet is turning off center, or turning some larger diameter out of center gravity. I don't know how you want to call it, stuff. And well, the lathe, I think it might want to spin around or wander around. I don't know what's going to happen. The lathe weighs about 20 ton. No, it weighs about 2 ton, 2 metric tons. So I think it's enough, but I don't know. Let me show you tooling over here for the lathe. I have some CNMG. Yeah, you know, straight in and part of blade. Now I know, part of blade. Some round inserts. I used that mostly for chamfering, and I have an insert with ceramic tip, and I used this one to get the chrome off cylinder rods. Some fancy tool holder from Kennametal for taking very fine cuts. Another holder for CNMG inserts to use the 2 edges you normally never use. Mostly use that one for facing off, not so much for turning, but for facing off it's really good. Turning is, yeah, you can see it. It gets pretty bad pretty fast. A boring bar, homemade for a special groove. Yeah, some boring bars. Yeah, a boring bar I just needed last week. Just some welded on carbide on the one hand, and the other hand is a very small tool. I don't have one for these diamond tipped carbide inserts. for the big lathe, so I just used the one from the small one. Worked. And this is an Armstrong holder for HSS. Sometimes I use them mostly if I machine plastics. HSS is great for that, very sharp. Ground HSS insert is best thing for working with plastics. Bigger boring bar. That's a 40 mil tool holder. Yeah, need them all the time. Allen wrenches, Allen keys, however you want to call them. Whey oil, I have always whey oil here if I just want to lubricate something. You always, on machines, you always need oil. Oil them and you're happy. Machine is happy. Parts are happy. Everybody's happy. I have an accurate DRO on this lathe. And this is a holder I just built. It's just a steel plate, so I don't have to drill in my lathe. And I just took the plate, drilled a hole, because there aren't any holes in this piece of plate, as you can see. So I drilled one, welded that up. Well, this thing is not pretty. This thing is not nice. This thing is not made well. I forgot to build one as I was done with the lathe, and I started using the lathe, and I just can't stand doing this. And afterwards, maybe you need an Allen key. This one over here. You have maybe a smoke. You do this. You have to write something. You do this. You need some measuring tools. Let me get one. Like an indicator, a magnet-based indicator. You put them also here. And after that, you want to know some diameter. So you take your measuring tools up here. All right, now you need to do something on the lathe. Oh, what you need is all the way down, and what you always need is your wrench. I don't like working that way, so I just cobbled it up in like, I don't know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I don't care. I don't remember. It's not welded pretty, it's not welded good. It's sturdy and it holds up. This stuff is zinc plated, and no, I didn't bother getting the zinc plate off. I just took that thing. These are cut-offs. I cut them down, chamfer them with a grinder, scrap angle iron, and I just welded it up. I didn't even bother using a face shield. Yeah, I'm bad, I know. So let's make it a little bit more civilized here. And put all the stuff back where it belongs to. This is my American drawer, I call it. Only American tools. It's easy opening that stuff one-handed, like me. Yeah, dial caliper. I like that. I like that thing. It seems pretty old. Very nice. Telescoping gauges. Yeah. These were one of the later products I purchased from Starrett. I think they're made in overseas. These are about the same quality as these ones, and these were like 10 bucks, 20 bucks, I don't remember. These were like 60. I bought them, I believe 60, 65 bucks, paid for them. I deburred them with a stone, couple of hours, spent of my life deburring precision tools. I don't know. What do I have in here? Inside mic. Oop. This is a mic you use to measure either a groove width, or you can also use it to measure the distance of a groove from a face or something. Just read it the right way around. Don't forget, it's the opposite way, like depth gauges are. Yeah, this one is a Brown and Sharp, I think. No. Yeah, Brown and Sharp. I think. Very nice. This one is really high quality. Let's take a look at this drawer. Oh yeah, dial gauges, very small files, a sharpener kit. I use these as honing sticks for HSS tools. Yeah, these are stuff for oiling. I replace them every now and then. When I do maintenance, I look at them. If they look bad, I just take a new one, some wire, and put them down in the hole so they can suck up the oil. Over here, metric measuring tools. As you can see, these are the most used ones I need most of the time. Oop, closed up. Don't need these very often. But I keep everything at least inside a drawer. Yeah. That's a stand I also bought. Yeah. Never used it, but it still needs the top plate with the top roller. I want to use it if I have really long shafts. Maybe I can put it down here on the end. Use this fixed parts holder. I forgot the name, I'm so sorry. Maybe use this roller stand for doing long work that's way too long for the lathe. Take the tailstock off and yeah, go to town with it. Or use it in the back of the lathe. That's also possible. As you can see, there's so much space behind the lathe. I can easily put it down here and go to use with it. Yeah, no, I can't, I know. I forgot something I need to show you. In here, some gloves, special tooling. Very nice for fabricating work. Punches in different sizes for transferring holes and some other stuff. Yeah, the broom. Two. These are all very, very heavy. You know what these are, right? Use them in a vise. Elevate your work pieces off the ground. Some other tooling I made, some angle blocks. These are like for milling. If you mill them down, because you have to, yeah, you don't care. You just use them. And if they're done, you take a piece of steel, make yourself a new one. These are angle plates. Like, I bought them, they were dirt cheap. And for a lot of the stuff I do, these angle plates are like, yeah, I don't know, $5 a piece or $2 a piece, I don't remember, maybe 30, 40 bucks for all of them. I guess, overseas. And they're good enough. Yeah, can't show you this drawer pretty good. Forgot it completely. I'm so sorry. These are some end mills I have. Very much HSS, but I do have some carbide. These are in here. Use them most of the time, but I don't do much milling, so I don't need much end mills. I do much drilling, so I have a lot of taper shank mills, drills. Yeah, I did have taper shank milling cutters also. Yes, I do have some. Yeah, reamers I also own a couple. Yeah, making holes into something more useful, like a threaded hole for bolts. I have an assortment of tabs and dies I need, or I needed once and never again. Deburring and some drills. These go from 6 to 10 millimeter in like 0.1 of a mil increments. Yeah, didn't use them also, but I paid $10 for this drill cabinet. They were all brand new. I don't know. He never used them, he said, but this man didn't have a machine shop, so now I have them and I also don't use them. Most of the time I use just these because I don't need them. Yeah, you know, standard Noga deburring, some chamfer bits and a Zapfensenker. Yeah, neutral counterbore holes, is that right? I don't know, for making socket head cap screws disappear. Tool makers clamps in some different sizes. A hole saw, also need that sometimes. Yeah, put everything back where it belongs, so the drawer closes up. Yeah, another clamp. I don't know. These are some centering cones for centering up work in a lathe. Put that end in your chuck. You unscrew that thing right here, so these cones slide away. You can put something in here, tighten the nut up, and it centers right on this gadget. And on the other side you have a center drilled hole for your tailstock. Tailstock support arbor stuff thingy. Yeah, what's in here? Some more measuring tools, some overseas. I want to try these out for measuring, like some gaps or keyways. Not that useful, but also if the keyway is big enough, you can use the smallest one, and put it in a keyway like this and measure around this where it sticks out. If the keyway is too long, or no, not too long. If the keyway is too short and way smaller than this, and way smaller than this, you just cannot use them, of course. Yeah, 1 to 3 blocks, and these are overseas 1 to 3 blocks, and they messed me up a couple of times because they are 1, 2, 3 blocks. And I live in a metric land. Yeah. Bought them like as a metric. I bought them as a metric pair, and I assumed it was 25 by 50 by 75 mil, and it just ain't. It's Imperial. It is a 1, 2, 3 block. A Noga arm and a dial test indicator. I use that for indicating on the mill sometimes. Lots in here. Oh, more measuring tools, some overseas cheap stuff, but that's accurate enough. Yeah, flashlight. Oh, this is it. There's nothing in there. It's a machinist level. That's somewhere else. Okay, that's my old pan. I bathe my hand every morning, so it looks like I already worked a couple of hours. Here are, yeah, you see that. These are all empty. These are all the empty boxes from the Serra tools I bought. I don't know. I like that company. I like that brand, and I just keep these boxes. Yeah. Homemade boring head. ER40 collets. Cheap overseas product. Good enough for the thing I need. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I want to sell these quick change tool holders from a lathe. I don't need them anymore. Some more homemade boring bars, horizontal milling cutters, some more Armstrong holders. I guess they come from a shaper. And yeah, maybe one day I buy myself a shaper, so I have some place to stick these tools to. My Wohlhaupter UPA4 universal facing and boring head got almost complete. Yeah, one of these guys is missing, but I replaced it with a boring bar. Yeah, I took this thing out, put it in here, so I can always put it back. But that thing, I think I can't put back. That was Morse Taper 4. I just unscrewed it, made myself a 25 mil, I believe 25 mil, 30 mil stud, so I can grip it with the ER40. I guess it was 25, because the biggest ER40 is like 26 or something, if I remember right. Okay, that's about everything in here. Yeah, I forgot. That's all for setup. The mills. Some stuff is useless, some stuff is good. Okay, let's move on. We go over here, leave this one, come to the junk corner, more material stored, a big drill chuck or drill vise, some bending equipment, a bending table, material storage from square and rectangular tubing, or I guess tubing, right, not pipes. We don't run fluids in here. Some I-beams. Yeah, some stuff I just laid on here on my first saw. Just sawed these, and some plates that go with these I-beams to be welded on. That's a saw. Very nice saw. Cuts very fine, very fast, accurate. Restored it. Another saw, as you can see, it has the new invisible blades. They don't break anymore. Now, I bought this one about 2 years ago, and I just wanted to clean it up some and maybe put fresh oil in it and use it. After cleaning, I decided to put all the guts on this pallet and take the time and maybe like give this thing a keyway back. Yeah. Or a gasket. Maybe not bad. That's a home-built welding rotator I bought. It has a fancy motor on it. You can adjust the speed on this knob from slow to fast or pretty fast. It has 2 gear reduction boxes, a 3-phase motor, and yeah. I bought this thing used. I paid like, I don't know, what does this thing weigh? Like, let's say 300 pounds, so I paid like, yeah, 15 cents a pound for it. Dirt cheap. And it will become a project one day. All right, something more I didn't show you over here. My almost finished project, this old air compressor. It was black. It was dirty. It had just grit and grime everywhere. There wasn't even a filter in here anymore. Nothing. Just a piece of something in there. So I cleaned it all up, washed it, degreased it, put new gaskets, completely new filter on. Bought this from Amazon like 20 bucks. Didn't bother checking Stenhoy, which is a Norwegian or some Scandinavian company that built this compressor back in 1978, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, if you can read that, I can't. It's right here. 1976, maybe. I don't know. I just bought it. Inspected the tank. It's fine. Got myself a Ingersoll Rand air dryer. I will hook it up to this thing via these hydraulic hoses I have around here. Maybe I change this one and put the 90 degree on here, and on top maybe use a piece of bent pipe or something. I don't know. Yeah, it goes in here. That's a filter, because I want to use the air dryer directly from the compressor into the tank. So there should only be dry air in the tank. Then again, a filter for, yeah, like, I don't know, rust particles. There's not much rust in this tank, just a little bit. But these filters are dirt cheap, like 10 bucks. So I just put it in here, another hydraulic hose. That's another air dryer. It separates some oil and water out of the compressed air. So you have really clean air on this hose. This hose goes to the machines. Every machine has a air hose adapter, so I can use it. And this hose is for the saws and myself to clean up when I use like the table saw. I don't use it that much. Yeah, that's a pneumatic press used for, where are some? Let me see. There has to be some in here. Yeah. For rivets, you rivet a brake pad with this one. I'll show you later maybe. That's the same press. You can rivet a brake pad with this press also. I only use it if like a rivet is loose. So I try to re-rivet it. If it doesn't work, I just punch it out, all of them, and install new rivets, and I'm done. Don't care. One rivet is like a couple of cents. Not hooked up yet, just finished rebuilding this little grinder. I don't know how you call it. Got new bearings in it. I washed it, I cleaned it. I still need to cap off these two holes. Yeah, it needs a electric stuff done to it. Wire wheel on the one side, deburring wheel on the other side. Tool and cutter grinder for cheapskates. That's like just a carbide grinder where you can grind your tooling. Another drill press. Yeah, sometimes you just do holes in a piece of steel, and it doesn't have to be that good. So you use a cheap vise I got off of a flea market for like, I guess I paid $4 or $5 for it, but it's not even worth $3. It's a piece of junk. And otherwise, mostly I use this hose press in this vise. You can set it up like this. Excuse me for not being able to do it easy right now, as I have some issues with my right arm right now, and I shouldn't use it that much. Yeah, you use this one I use this one not to clamp hoses or press hoses. These are not for hydraulic hoses anyway, just for like making yourself some air hoses or water hoses. But I don't use them for that. I use them to crimp electrical stuff, because I found that crimping these guys, yeah, we have to go quite a couple of yards. I crimp. A new song. We crimp these wires to these, yeah, how you call them? It's a NATO connector cable, and these things need to be clamped on a cable, so, or crimped on a cable. Normally you use lead and a heat gun or something. I hate that. That's not good anyway. Yeah, side project. Here are some rivets underneath this dirt. Yeah. I need to clean these all up and look for defects and reinstall them if they're good. Let's see. What else do we have? Like, oh, this turns into a Vivor channel maybe. But yeah, I just bought this 60-ton hollow cylinder. and a foot pump. And yes, that's a cylinder I used first and most of the time. And I'll show you what I do with it. Let me show you what I just did on this one. These are the bolts for the hydraulic cylinders, and these cylinders are not to press anything. These are your springs, actually. So this whole semi-truck trailer is it has no air springs, it has hydraulic springs, and these are actually hydraulic springs, and they have bolts or pins and bushings, and these pins were worn out. I installed them with other pins, different make, easier make, cheaper make, readily available make. And don't confuse me, this is for safety. These are bought commercially from a company that sells it for their brand. That's a different brand trailer, and they use homemade or brand made pins that are extremely expensive, hard to get. So I converted this trailer to the readily available pins. You just buy them, stick them in there, and you're happy. And I can get like 50 of them right now in like 2 hours. I drive there, pick them up, drive back, and have them. Whereas the pins that were in there, they told me I had to wait 6 months. Yeah, right. I'm gonna wait 6 months not using this trailer. Hey, no. In 6 months of time, I find a different solution. And yeah, made it here too, and also here. It needs some new hoses, or let's say I replace the hoses with pipes. Easier, better, because these hoses are too long and they rub on the inside, like right here. You don't want that. Okay, enough of projects. The welding stuff, like a small welder. That's just like a smoke evacuator. Another little welder. Another little welder. And this is my oxyacetylene. Yeah. Another pump, other stuff, some wheels. Welding equipment. Raising stuff. Yes, I don't know. We call them nuts over here. Because you go nuts using this stuff. Welding equipment. You can't have enough clamps. You're always running out of clamps. Scrap metal pile, little bit sorted. You always need like a little piece of angle iron. Right now, yeah. Better don't look half an hour through a real scrap bin. I just used this old, I don't know how you call it, thing, and I sorted it. Yeah, a brake caliper, that's junk. That's a good wrench. 46 mil, hand tight. Yeah, and otherwise, I bought this complete table, just how it was. And I was like, that's a wooden riser block. That's not gonna last a single day. Well, this thing is in here for about 12 years now, on this wooden riser block. And you won't believe what I did with it. That thing is still going good. So I just leave it this way. That's a scrap bin. You see why I don't want to use anything out of my scrap bin. Stuff in there is scrap. You throw it away. Or you bring it through scrap metal recycling so they can melt it back down, and yeah, you get some new I-beams. That's my welding table. Very proud of it, because it's yeah, I don't know how to make a joke anymore, so it's already late, so yeah, it's just a piece of iron, just a piece of steel I use as a pretty much flat surface. Let me show you again what most of my work is. Working on semi-trailers. Yes, you do have some work that needs to be accurate, like if you're making these pins yourself, which I did before, but no need anymore, because I can buy these pins, they are cheaper, then I can make them. They're faster, easy. Obviously you have to hold tight tolerances on stuff like that, like 1 or 2 thou. You need to be very, very close. But there is other stuff on the other hand. Well, if something of this linkage breaks, you won't be able to see it, but there's a linkage in here that can move the tire up from the ground. Yeah, that thing is like a, I don't know, if it's 10 thou under or over, you won't recognize that. The thing is, if you make it too tight, it won't work for a long time. Yeah, over here I keep my come-alongs and some straps, lifting straps, wooden blocks, wooden wedges and wooden blocks in different sizes. You need that for work like me. Oh, and yeah, let me show you the original pin design. It's a pin made like this. It has 2 flattened sides, and what you do is you take this thing here, and it has this shoulder in here. This shoulder registers in this hole. As you can see, it's not dirty, and that's how I remove them. Anyway, by the way, so that's how they look when you take them out. And to secure all that piece of junk, you take a bolt and bolt it all the way down. Yeah, very good idea for securing a pin when you can put the pin only in from the front side, and there's a welded piece of flat steel on the back side. Let me show you. There was nothing here. It was on the back side. Yeah, what's going to keep the pin from turning? Right, the flat piece welded on the board part of the axle, and the friction of the bolt tightening down this pin. That's all. Now imagine that thing loading up like 25 metric tons and driving down the road, going to a construction site, because that's what we do. We bring stuff to construction sites. Yeah, that's not gonna last. It's gonna work for like 2 years after they're brand new. And after 2 years, they just get loose. They start turning inside, mangle up your bearings in the cylinders. mangle up the bores in your axle, and yeah, turn into something like scrap. Yeah, some electric I have to do on trucks also. You maybe want to have a turn signal or a brake light or something. You really do. I mean, people driving behind them ain't that happy if they don't know that they did want to go left. Yeah. Well, a quick overview from the shop, machining part of the shop, fabricating and repairing part of the shop, and yeah, and that's about it. Oh, yes, we are allowed to eat in Germany, and we also have tap water. That you can just drink. All right, let me go over to the bench and call it a day.